Byron, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
The next one in line, okay.
Right.
Steps, the next one.
Well, you can do it if you want.
Hang on one second. Yeah.
Who was that?
Are you okay? Brad's not gonna be here.
Okay.
Coach, right. He said he would give it to somebody else. You're next in line. Kim said she wanted to.
That's fine, yeah.
No, it's up to you.
No, okay.
You good? Okay. Thank you. All right, you. Oh, meeting to order, please. Pledge of allegiance, Mr. Cavill.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Invocation, Mr. Martin.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Almighty Father, we come to you on this day, thanking you for your blessings in every and all every way. I hope that you continue to bless the city of Crowley and all those who you put in charge, and ask that you help us in our time of need. In this and all our prayers, we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Jeff Cavell,
Here.
Brad Ford, Clint Crater,
Here.
Lyle Fogelman, Vernon Martin,
Here.
Stephen Primo, Sam Reggie,
Here.
Kim Stringfellow, here, Byron Wheelridge.
Here.
Okay. We do have a quorum. Thank you very much. Reading of the call, please, Madam Clerk.
April 1st, 2022, City of Crowley, special council meeting notice. You are hereby notified that a special council meeting of the mayor and board of aldermen of the City of Crowley will be held on Wednesday, April 6th, 2022 at 4:00 p.m. in the City Council chambers at 426 North Avenue F, Crowley, Louisiana. The purpose of said meeting will be to consider approval of the use of the fund and increasing the construction budget by $201,130. Number 2, to authorize a program amendment to be prepared and executed by you and submitted to the Office of Community Development, LCDBG Public Facilities Program. Number 3, to award contract for City of Crowley for year 2021 LCDBG program rehabilitation of the sewerage collection system project contingent upon approval and concurrence by LCDBG.
Thank you, ma'am. The purpose of this said meeting, as she just described, as everyone knows, it's about the LCDBG program, that we have to go through this amendment process. And letter A is to consider the approval of the use of the fund and increasing the construction budget by $201,130. And we'll do each one, or if y'all want to do all three, both. Okay. All right. They have it in their packet. Yes. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Reagan has written a resolution that will combine everything, so then we'll do the same thing as voting on. So considering A, B, and C, and in the resolution, I'll ask for a motion, please.
I so move, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Offered by Mr. Cabell, seconded by Mr. Woodridge. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I ask for a motion for adjournment.
Offered.
Who offered? Mr. Reggie, seconded by Ms. Stringfellow. All in favor? Vote. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Things are still rolling. Okay. All right, we'll move in right into committee, and we'll start with the Public Works Committee. Mr. Crater.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Works Committee will convene. We have a quorum with Mr. Brad Core and Mr. Lyle Holcomb, not present. First off, we'll start off with the Public Works Director, Mr. Albert Johnson.
Good afternoon. I only have one piece of equipment to report that's out of service. I'm hoping to have it back by the end of the week. It's a tractor. That's all I have.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Johnson? Mr.
Yes.
Cabell?
Just real quick, who is street sweeper?
I'm sorry.
Street sweeper? My baby street department.
He's good.
He's doing good, thank you.
Swept all day.
Thank you. Anybody else?
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next up, we'll have the Street Commissioner, Mr. Gilbert Posey.
That's enough. Everything basically the same, we still continue to cut the grass, picking up trash and debris, still digging out ditches and washing out culverts. And we moved 15 trees in the ground, 8 stumps. And we're just trying to keep up with everything else that's needed as y'all call or do the work all the time. Any questions?
Questions for Mr. Gilbert? Yes, Mr. Rich.
I don't have a question, but I'll just say thank you. We added some extra work to you guys for cleaning the city, so I just want to say I appreciate it. It looks pretty good.
You're welcome, it's all good.
Yes, thank you, Gilbert.
You're welcome, sir.
You, your crew
Thank you,
did a great job. It looks really good. Tomorrow's the day.
appreciate it.
Anybody else have anything for Mr. Gilbert? Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll hear from the city engineer, Mr. Tim Maker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have my engineer's report in your packets. And there are 3 action items. They are listed in the Public Works agenda. Item 1, 2, 3. The first item you'll find in my report on page 3 of my report. On page 3, if you look where I have the old letter C in the left margin, we have partial payment estimate number 21 to Southern Constructors. As of March 31st, contract time is expired and it's 99% complete by cost. Partial payment estimate number 21 shows the value of work done through that date is $4,378,784.58. The amount of $218,939.23 is now being withheld for labor and material liens. The amount due at this time, therefore, is $39,842.29, and I offer that action to approve partial payment estimate number 21 to Southern Constructors, Inc. for the citywide drainage improvements project in the amount of $39,842.29.
So moved.
Second, offered by Mr. Moore. Second by discussion. Mrs. Stringfellow.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, that includes, does that include the Avenue G? That does not include the Avenue G bridge?
Yes, it does.
It does, so they're finished with that?
Practically, the railing material is delayed in shipment, and we can't open up Avenue G until the railing is in place. So that's the only thing, other than dress up, clean up, the only thing preventing the reopening of Avenue G is the bridge railing.
And what about Marcel Thomas Avenue?
Yeah, Marcel Thomas Avenue drainage is in place again, except for dress up, clean up.
Is
Everything
anything
is done. We do have to have a final inspection between now and the May meeting, and those are the things that would be included, dress up in the process.
Okay.
Mr. Rich?
You said you have a final inspection. Have you looked at it since then? I mean, are you satisfied with it up to now?
No, we have not had a final inspection.
Quite a bit. I mean, have you had a chance to look at it up to now?
No.
Any kind of inspection?
No, what we'll do is we'll go out and look at all the areas, things that we want him to clean up before the final inspection. I like the final inspection to be as routine and minimal in remaining work, and that the punch list would be minimal, and the amount withheld for the punch list would be minimal, as much as possible.
Anything else for Mr. Bailey? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Next action item will be on page 5. This is going to be partial payment number 5 for contract A, street improvements. If you look on page 5, where I have the letter G, the whole letter G in the left margin. As of March 25th, the contract was 82% complete by time, 21% complete by cost. Partial payment estimate number 5 shows the total value of work done through that date is $1,418,100.64. $70,955.03 is being withheld for labor and material liens, and the total amount due is $736,908.87. And the council action requested, therefore, is to approve partial payment estimate number 5 to Ben Leger Construction LLC for the citywide street improvements contract A project in the amount of $736,908.87.
Make a motion as read. Seconded by Mr. Willard. Discussion? Mr. Cavell?
Mr. Mayor, that's pretty good disparity in percentages. Are they going to narrow it up anytime soon?
We expect to come to you, and their contract time is up as of May 3rd, I believe it is. And we're going to come to you in May with a request for a time decision.
Yeah, you expect that last month, and I was kind of sure, 60% difference is pretty good disparity.
Yes, it is.
So, okay.
Mrs. Stringfellow?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, do you know when they're going to finish the, I think that's Hutchinson, when they're going to finish the turning lanes?
Oh, the median openings? I don't know right now, but I can find out.
Okay, thank you.
And I have some questions, too, concerns from citizens about and I contacted you about the big lip that we have on the streets that have curb and gutters. And I think some of us here were under the impression that they were milling to mill down so that you wouldn't have a big lip where there's curb and gutter streets, and we're just overlaying on the other streets. And what I've seen in the historical district especially is that, and I've had some concerns from one of them actually is an eye doctor that has some elderly patients, and he's concerned that his elderly patients won't see that big ditch that he has in front of his place now and maybe fall and hurt himself. So can you explain to me, or to the council, I guess, why they're not milling as much as they're putting back so that it's even with the curb and gutter, and now we have that lip, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I heard that wrong, but I thought that's why they were milling. So can you explain that to us, please?
You're not wrong, the milling was supposed to take away 1.5 inches and then put back 1.5 inches. The problem is, what we're trying to do, number one, that the purpose of paved streets is to make traffic smooth, that vehicular traffic ride along the road in a smooth cross slope and a smooth longitudinal grade. The problem is that in curb and gutter areas, the existing curb and gutter generally undulates. There's some highs and some lows. We have to maintain a 1.5 inch minimum thickness across the pavement, the resurfacing. We have to maintain a cross slope for drainage. The equipment that's used nowadays and the type of asphalt that's being put down doesn't allow us to do anything more than screed the asphalt in a constant slope. So when you look at an undulating curb and gutter, you're going to find that where the curb and gutter dips, oftentimes that's at a catch basin, that the screed is trying to maintain 1.5 inches in a smooth longitudinal ride. So you're going to have areas that are thicker than what was removed.
So you're saying that you agree everything's fine, it's the way it's supposed to be?
Everything that I've seen is within standard of care of the asphalt paving industry, yes, sir.
We have to take your word for it. I've been told different, but okay. If you say that's the way it's supposed to be, then I guess that's the way it's supposed to be.
If there are any particular locations that are concerned, like a doctor who has patients that may
And
have
the
a
people in
special...
front of Dr. Cathanover's, I mean, around 7th Street, is where I rode and looked, and, you know, my concern is somebody walking, somebody riding a bicycle, and especially handicapped people. It's way worse now than it ever was, and I don't see how a handicapped person is gonna navigate in that area, especially trying to get to the doctor's office or hospital or dentist or one of those places around there. And bicyclists, I think it would be, it's a tremendous, when you're talking 3 inches for the bicycle tire, you're looking for a major happening. And also, like I said, these elderly patients that are coming to visit this doctor, and they don't see very well, that's why they're going to this doctor. And here you have a ditch pretty much that they have to navigate. It just, to me, I was under the impression that they were gonna mill so that it would be even with the curb and gutter on streets that had curb and gutters, and the rest of the streets were gonna just overlay. And that's not what I'm seeing, but if you're saying that that's how it's supposed to be, then you're the city engineer. I can't question that, but I just don't think that it's, I think we should have looked at that before, you know, when we did the plan, and we should have addressed that. But too late now.
Well, I guess it is, but then to correct it would have been to remove and replace thousands, if not miles of curb and gutter, which is very expensive and not affordable. What you see there is within the standard of care of any city street resurfacing project. It's not built like a highway. It's not going to have a constant cross slope, and a contractor can easily add 1.5 inches or 2 inches and not worry about the curb and gutter that's settled here and there, which is what's happening in Crowley. But the city can't afford to remove and replace curb and gutter throughout the city to address this problem. But we can look at specific situations that in and of themselves need to possibly be corrected, and we'll do what we can to correct it.
Okay, well, I'll be watching for them when they come down my street with curb and gutters. Anything else, Mr. Mayor? Oh, I'm sorry, we're voting, so, any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to call your attention to the item on page 7. And this is regarding the Rice Copper Parkway relocation project that's in the hands of DOTD. If you look at bold M in the left margin, that's where I'm looking in my report. And the update, if you read the summary letter for our latest quarterly meeting, Mayor and I meet with the district engineer administrator every 3 or 4 months. He brought to our attention the need to have the council adopt a resolution to amend a condition of the cooperative endeavor agreement. In that summary letter, I'm going to summarize what we said there. They need a resolution in order for them to be able to proceed with the project. The requested resolution is being presented to you at this time. The purpose of the resolution is to allow DOTD the ability to provide the best possible pavement design for the project without mentioning specific details in the cooperative endeavor agreement. That would be in case the engineers, the DOTD engineers would arrive at a different pavement design recommendation during their plan preparation process. So what we're doing is, and I'll pass it out,
This is the resolution that was submitted to the mayor by DOTD for your consideration. It's a link. Just make sure everybody's with the same one at the same time.
This resolution refers to what's called Condition 1 in the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement. Condition 1, they want to change the wording there to read, provide repairs to Segment 1, which is a part of the project just east of Highway 13, about Tefizos. It's where that project is going to consist of reconstruction of the existing road, as opposed to beyond that to the east. It's going to be a brand new road because it's off the existing line. Condition 1 says provide repairs to Segment 1 to be transferred to the City of Crowley as mutually agreed to by the Department and the City of Crowley and in accordance with the plans and specifications for State Project 8.011829. What they're asking to do is to provide a better pavement design than what's stated specifically in the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement right now. It's a thicker asphalt, thicker base. Because the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement, which was written in 2014, had a specific design of a lesser thickness of asphalt and lesser base, they took Boring's pavement design section in Baton Rouge, came up with a heftier surface and base. So what they want to do is not repeat the same mistake, is make it specific again, and maybe want to make changes again before they get the final plans. They say mutually agreed to by the Department and the City of Crowley. So it gives the city the right to look at what the final pavement design is and either agree or disagree.
I make the motion to send the resolution to the full council.
Second.
Second by Mr. Moore. Discussion. Mrs. Springfield.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, is there any money involved in this? This is just an agreement that we get to look at the plans basically before they do anything?
The resolution involves a broadening of the specifications for the pavement design.
Okay, so there's no money that the city will be out for this?
No more than you've already agreed to.
Okay. Do you have that original agreement?
I do.
Okay.
It's
Can
very-
you- yes, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have for public works.
Okay, and I have a couple questions for you. One thing, the smoke testing we're about to do on the streets that have already been overlaid, do we anticipate any problems with having to tear those streets up and having to redo them after, when we start doing the smoke testing?
We won't know until we smoke test.
It is a possibility.
Yes, possibility. What we intend to do, and there are items in the sewer rehab contract to actually do what's called trenchless construction, where if we find smoke testing reveals a breach in a main line underneath the pavement, that we'll go in and do an internal relining of the sewer main as opposed to digging down and cutting out a section and fixing it. So we'll do that as much as possible.
Okay, and the other thing I have a question about, I was looking at some plans earlier, and there was a $9 million citywide sidewalk improvements to make all of our sidewalks handicapped. I think it was 30-something miles of sidewalk. I was wondering, have we ever pursued a grant for that, or is there any anticipation of us trying to pursue a grant to get our sidewalks redone and handicap accessible? Do you know?
Yes, sir, we've pursued what's called Safe Routes to Schools grant. It's been in place for probably, I would say, 5, maybe 6 years. It has a specific application that it has to be a prominent route from neighborhoods along a city route to get to the school location. They opened that up a little bit most recently to take out the requirement that it had to be to schools. We've applied twice and not been successful in getting the grant. The grant doesn't begin to correct 30 miles of sidewalk. It's a fairly low amount of money that you can get for that purpose.
Yeah, well, I saw it was like $9 million was with the estimate of what it would cost us to rehab all of our sidewalks, but, you know, possibly we could do the strategic places that really need it more than others. Mr. Mark, you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to, Tim, when he was talking about that grant, we had done that thing down Hutchins, West.
Yes, so we actually restriped the outside shoulder, let's say, of Western,
I remember that.
to
You mentioned that.
make it a route for sidewalk kids.
Right, okay, I just wanted to go ahead and put it in this. All right, thank you. Thank you, Tim.
And again, you know, with the overlay we have going on, I think trying to get to the parks and other places is going to be really, really tough on handicap. We don't do something. So,
One of the most expensive aspects of a sidewalk project is you're not going to just be able to remove the old sidewalks and replace it. You've got to go to every intersection, every turnout, every curb and gutter and make handicap ramps. That expands the cost quite a bit.
right, I understand that. And like I said, you know, parks, I think, schools, there's some strategic places that we could probably come up with if we can pursue a grant for that. I think we could make a big difference, especially at Levy Park, Martin Luther King Center, places that are really, really utilized a lot. So anyway, I just wondered if there was any grants or anybody pursuing grants for that kind of stuff. I know there's some cast members here tonight that are pushing that also. I'm a member of that committee. And hopefully we can get something done with
Yes, sir, we're working directly with Cash, Mr. Hughes, to come up with scope and cost estimates to see what's involved, which would be needed for any grant application.
Great. Mr. Hughes, you got something?
Chair, someone's at that.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, you go.
Yeah, I'm Leah of Power Cash. We just wanted to give an update for Levy Park. With Rotary, the grant has been pushed, won't be approved for several months. But that's just an update on that for the update for Levy Park and the handicap accessible, getting that piece for.
And that money probably won't be available until probably September, and that's only for the ramp. It doesn't include any sidewalks to get to the park inside there, which is necessary also. We did get an estimate for where the ramp is going to be located to the center sidewalk that cuts diagonally across the park, and that was right around $6,000, $7,000 in that range, right in line with what Brett was saying, actually. And we are meeting with Peter Kirsch tomorrow and going over to the Martin Luther King Center and start to get our game plan together for that, for sidewalks to go to the bathroom areas and a few other areas too. We have a major concern though, and that's this building here. It came to our attention that last August, there was a complaint turned into the Department of Justice, that's what it was, Federal Department of Justice about this building. And I received an email, and apparently, according to one expert that I talked to, they're delayed in being able to, excuse me, get around to all the complaints, but it's coming. And if we're waiting for grants for this building, it might be too late before they show up. I'm working with Mr. Bader from Tim's office, and we're getting a plan together for a ramp, a truck's ramp, to come into the front of the building with an electronic door. And it's not going to be cheap. Those doors cost a lot of money. I mean, I don't have an estimate yet because he hasn't finished drawing up the plans, but you all need to kind of be concerned about that because there's going to be some legal situation coming down the road. And, it takes a while for these grants to come in, 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, a year, or whatever. But you don't want the federal government coming down on you for that. So you might want to think about funding it in a different way. But next meeting, hopefully we'll have more information and a rough idea of how much it's going to cost, so you all can start planning on that.
Ms. Martin?
Okay, the ramp that you're talking about, where y'all planning on putting it?
For this building,
Yeah,
it's going to come in from where the magnolia tree is. It's going to be about 30 feet, 33 feet long, something like that. Because it has a turn in it, it has to have a 5-foot square
landing
platform
base,
in
yeah,
the middle of
landing
it.
base.
And there's rails involved, and it'll come from that side, come across, and then the door on the left-hand side will swing open with a button to
Okay.
open it up.
Emergency opening button?
Right.
Okay.
There's a little bit of logistics to be involved, to get this thing straight. The main thing right now is to make sure that we got something going and going fast. Because I don't want to deal with the federal government, I'm sure you all don't either.
Mr. Mayor, questions? You working on that? You have something in plans for that?
Working on it.
Okay, great.
Right, but I met with Brett last week, and I spoke with him, or I texted him yesterday, he said he's working on it, and he should have something relatively soon.
Right. Thank you.
I gotta tell you, he's a wealth of knowledge. You're lucky to have him on board. He really knows his stuff. He's ADA approved, so.
He's a certified instructor.
Right. So we're lucky to have him.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes, and
Nice to meet you.
appreciate it. Anything else to come before the Public Works Committee?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I have a
sir.
question.
Mr. Mayor?
The current ramp that is in front of the building that was put years ago and was ADA compliant, why aren't we using that?
Which one?
The one on the Avenue F side?
It has been used in the past,
Yeah.
and still, but of course, when the building was redone, secured entrances were made for the police department,
Right.
which is not a problem. We do have a dispatcher there at all times, however, the problem would be, as occurred in this situation, where some person had come down from the meeting through the elevator, and the only door they could get back to was from this door here, which was secured. Now, I happened to go down and was able to let them in, but if I'm not available or there's not another officer available with a key card, that's where the situation kind of presented itself.
So the reasoning behind all of this is because everything's secured?
Correct. And the availability of personnel to let people through.
Yeah, that was under Mayor Della Houston.
Gentlemen, Mr. Hughes, you have something?
No, I just stood up in case there was a question.
Turn off the mic. Anything else? In the Public Works Committee recess.
Thank you, sir. Next is Utility Committee, Mr. Martin.
Thank you. Let's see, Utility Committee going to go ahead and get started here. We do have a quorum. First, Tim Crater with wastewater superintendent. Come on up, buddy.
Good afternoon. During the month of March, we received 686 Louisiana One Call Locate requests. 325 of those were new two-day requests. 342 were updated, 19 emergency calls. Most of the calls to or from Louisiana One Call were for the road project and for the drainage project. We had 51 work orders filed during the month. During the month of March, we had to pull pumps at 8th Street, Magnolia, Hutchison, Parkinson and Mill, the main station, Hutchison Avenue, and Oddfellows. Most of them we were able to clean out and inspect, put back in place. However, we did have to remove one and send back to the company to have it checked for repair. We did have one in the shop to go in its place to continue service there. One of the 4 pumps at the main station was removed to be cleaned. We couldn't put it back in because the guide that slides the pump down the rail was damaged. We've been trying to get as much time from it as we could. We did order one. It came in not according to what we needed for the application. It was returned. We are looking at other manufacturers to obtain that guide and flange that we need. It's possible that we have to go, it's probably the original that was in there, so we're working on that to get one in its place. With the availability of the reclaim from the road project, we're pretty much complete on our facultative pond, which is our big pond, of using that reclaim that was milled to resurface that. We do have a couple areas left that we're going to use some of that reclaim for, so we've saved a considerable amount of money by not having to purchase limestone or any other product to put on that levee. It's a little better than a mile around, 12, 15 foot wide, so that's been a big help for us. We will be using what we have at our lift stations that need it in the future. Other than that, we're knocking on wood and hoping for the best.
Any questions? Just one thing, okay, on that, but the pump that's out, you're good right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, we have 3 in operation that doesn't seem to pose a threat to any backup.
Thank you. Any other questions, Tim? Jeff?
If I remember correctly, you said you always had to keep a backup,
Yes, we have 1.
so you're using that backup in service now?
Yes, for the 8th Street station.
Anybody else? Thank you, Tim. On you, Tim.
Okay, I have no action items, only updates which are in my report. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you have now or at any time between now and next Wednesday, or at any time at all.
Got it.
Mr. Mayor, so for the UV disinfection system, so we'll hear something probably in November if the State Bond Commission approves or doesn't approve funding that project? What it says here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and recess.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Next, Recreation Committee, Mr. Springwell's not here. Mr. Crater?
Thank you, Mayor. The Recreation Committee convened. We do have a quorum. Mr. Holdeman and Mr. Springwell are absent. First up, we'll hear from the Recreation Director, Mr. Peter Kirsch.
Good afternoon. Our recreation baseball, softball season is in full swing, pardon the pun. It started this week. Our participation numbers are up from last year by exactly 75 children, right at 500 children overall. Anyone wanting to coach, please let us know, or umpire. They pulled me out of retirement. I'm coaching the pitch team for kids. And I've even rooked my son into helping out with one of the pony teams this year. So it's truly a family affair at my house. But like I said, anyone getting involved, volunteers are welcome at all levels. Please contact the office and let us know. We can get you involved. Opening day was held on April 2nd. all teams were able to play at least one game and get pictures in. And we also, moving into the tournaments for the rest of the year, we have a full slate of tournaments on the calendar. Opening day is the only weekend besides Holy Week, it's 2 in the same month, that we won't host a tournament, but we're booked now until June 24th. And then we have a break in there, July's 4th weekend, and then we go into the end of July. We've already booked 4 bigger tournaments than we had for the fall of last year. Those 4 tournaments that we have in the book were bigger than anything we had combined of all of fall last year. So fall is looking good. Currently, right now, the complex, the bathrooms are getting a good scrubbing, spring cleaning, and a fresh new coat of paint. That should be completed by the end of this week, and just in time for the company coming in for the weekend. I've also been in touch with Representative Stefanski's office. He is going to be, again, submitting Dusson Park, which is the park right across from St. Teresa's Church, into a contest in the state to have that court resurfaced. So fingers crossed, this is our lucky year. So again, I'd like to thank the Lions Club for the beautiful flag dedication ceremony held at the end of the month. First Generation Construction for the installation of the flagpole. And I'd also like to thank everyone who attended the grand opening of the Tony Robichaux Sports Complex. Especially thank my staff and Miss Jackie and Mr. Jonathan from City Hall for making it all possible, getting everything put in place and putting up with me and my scatterbrain stuff going on. One other note, last week we had District 7-1A that played their entire district schedule in Crowley between Miller Stadium and Heritage Field. And again, those schools, not one of those schools reside within Acadian Parish. St. Landry Parish, Point Coupee Parish, Evangeline Parish, so from all over. And again, this weekend we have District 62A, which is the district that Notre Dame plays in. They're playing their district tournament starting tomorrow night. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we'll see teams from Lafayette, Port Barry, from Lake Arthur is another school, Welsh. So we're seeing a lot of things. Another interesting thing that I'm kind of kicking myself to note, we've seen more of an uptick this year with the youth tournaments with out-of-state teams. And I'm not talking about right across from Slidell. We're seeing teams from Hoover, Alabama. I think we even had one team that came in from South Tennessee at one point. So it's starting to get that regional reach that we were hoping for. So other than that, everything is going good. The new signs are up, Mr. Crater, that you had asked about last month along the route. Also got some sponsorship stuff going and contacted more sponsors this week and next week, and we'll start seeing some signs going up in the park here in the next few days. Any questions?
Just a question about the JMU having something Sunday at Miller Stadium. We're aware of that, some kind of.
I know that, not this Sunday as far as any like baseball event, I know that they have contacted me about asking if the stadium would be open for recruits to come and visit the site.
Yeah, Mr. Martin?
Okay, you know what I'm about to ask you about the MLK bathrooms?
Yes, sir. The mayor hasn't updated.
Well, no, I was saying for the weekend.
Yes, that's still in place.
Good enough. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And also, as you're aware, I contacted you. I was contacted by one of the ladies with the Deltas, and they're interested in sponsoring kids maybe for activities at the recreation department. And when we started tabulating, come up, it's about $150 per kid to be able to play, let's say, play baseball. And that's really tough on some parents, especially if you have multiple kids and you have multiple sports, and then it adds up and up and up. So I think if anybody is interested in sponsoring kids to play sports, I think the Delta would be very, very interested in talking to you. And I think they were talking about maybe 5 kids or so. But anyway, it's still in the works. But just to bring to everybody's attention, not everybody can afford to play. When you're talking about $150, that's kind of a burden. And if we could get more community involvement and sponsorships for these kids, I think it would be a tremendous asset in getting those kids to play with their peers would be awesome.
Yes, sir. One thing that I've prided myself in since I came in, and I know it's a pride thing, and I understand that, so it's not something people go around bragging, but we have never, nor will we ever, as long as I can help it, refuse a child access to the programs. If I have to come out of pocket myself, if that's what it takes. But we are fortunate in Crowley that there are people like the Deltas who are willing to step up and help these kids out. And I know, like in our conversation, I get coaches that their kids have moved on, they clean up their attics. I've got laundry baskets of gloves, we even got some shoes. I have new socks that were donated even, and belts. So if anybody out there, hears me, if it comes down to it, if you need something, come see me. We can get the kids out there.
Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted everybody to know that I know it's very premature. We have had a couple of meetings. We're trying to initiate what's called the Boys and Girls Club. And we have some professional football players that are involved. And we have actual commitments from them, and along with some other people. And we're growing this. But I'll keep you informed about this as we go along. But again, it's very premature, and I tell you, the school board is on board. But again, I'll keep everybody posted if it happens to do with kids, whether it's in the evening, or to help the parents work. We really need to reach our children in the city. So that's what we're working on. Just let everybody know.
Anything else for Mr. Peter Kirsch? Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Next up, City Engineer, Mr. Tim Mayer.
Just a report, no action items.
Thank you. Any other action items or discussion items to come before the Recreation Committee? In the Recreation Committee recess.
Thank you. Next is zoning and annexation. Mr. Fogelman, he is not here. So, Mr. Martin?
Thank you, morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
The zoning and annexation committee will convene, and we do have a quorum. Mr. Mayor, do you have a report?
No action items. I will be here to speak about the one action item if you have any questions for me, the resolution for the rezoning.
Okay, we have action item authorizing the resolution of the mayor and board of aldermen of the city of Crowley, Acadia Parish, introducing a proposed ordinance and calling for a public hearing at the regular meeting of the mayor and board of aldermen on May 11th, 2022 at 6 p.m. to amend and reenact Appendix A of the zoning ordinance of the Code of Ordinances of the city of Crowley, amending the official zoning map of the city of Crowley to rezone and change the classification of lots 6 and 7 of Block 34 of South Crowley Edition belonging to Third Crop Properties LLC from R4 multifamily to I1 light industrial, to repeal all ordinances or parts of ordinances contrary thereto or in conflict therewith, to provide for the provisions hereof to be severable, and to provide for all matters relative thereto. And I so move. Seconded by Alderman Reggie. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And this is the date, is it right?
This is only a
So it's
committee.
only,
This is only a committee where we're moving it to full council.
right,
And then also, if you look in your packet, there was a planning commission public hearing that was held for a favorable recommendation. And that also is to move to full council. And it is, yes, ma'am, you are correct, it's to set a date at the full council meeting next Wednesday.
for the public hearing.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Is there anything else to come before zoning and annexation?
It is the one you wanted, huh? Oh, I think, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
so
you-
put that on you, I apologize, I
No,
thought that's the one that you agreed that you said, I'm sorry.
I don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And we'll recess.
Okay, so zoning and annexation recess, thank you, Ms. Stringfellow. And if you will continue, public safety committee, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just thought you wanted me to read, so.
I knew you had asked for one, so this is the one you want.
The Public Safety Committee will convene. We do have a quorum. First off, reports. Chief Broussard.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. In the month of March, Crowley Police responded to 1,002 calls for service. Included in this number were 1 homicide, our first for this year, 4 attempted burglaries, 4 attempted suicides, 2 auto theft complaints, 11 domestic abuse battery complaints, 7 hit and run accidents, 133 disturbance calls, 31 suspicious persons, 58 suspicious circumstances, 4 open container violations, 17 simple criminal damage to property, 12 simple batteries, and 9 calls for illegal use of a weapon. Our Narcotics Division has done 2 search warrants in the month of March, end of March, one particular netting over $72,000 in illegal drugs and currency. A total of 89 citations were written for Ted in the month of March. 10 citations were written in addition to Ted for the month of March. We have lost 1 officer since the last meeting, but have replaced him. However, that still leaves us 4 down, but we are interviewing. Temporary assignments are still in effect to assist patrol during the shortage. That's my report.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief? So you said, Chief, that you're down 4 officers?
Yes, ma'am. We're staffed as far as communications, but we are down 4 officers.
And you're interviewing, right?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, I had someone call me today to come fill out an application.
Very good. Anyone else for the chief? Okay. We'll hear from the fire chief. Romero. And I think we all have a copy of this report as well.
Good afternoon. First, I want to start off by saying, last Thursday morning, I know some of y'all know, some of y'all don't. We had an incident involving one of our captains. An 18-wheeler fell on his hand, and he was rushed to the hospital, then transported to Baton Rouge, and has now gone through 3 surgeries. And I just got informed his surgery for today was canceled, and it'd be rescheduled for tomorrow at 10. So, y'all just keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and his family. For March, the fire department responded to 49 calls. Of those calls, 2 of them were structure fires, 19 of them was fire alarms, 12 was EMS. We assisted the PD on 1 call. We had 4 hazmat, 1 vehicle accident, 7 public assist, 1 trash fire, 1 vehicle fire, and 1 mutual aid to assist District 11 with the structure fire. Monthly response time for last month was 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and so far for 2022 we had 121. Next thing, last Wednesday night we lost one of our firefighters. He quit, so we down 1 right now. And for the council to know, working with Louisiana Workers' Comp on the incident that happened with the captain, nothing but good things to say about Louisiana Workers' Comp. The lady that's handling the claim, Ms. Chris, she met us at the hospital. You know, she went above and beyond. She calls me daily to get an update, so kudos to Workers' Comp. I want to thank Gilbert and his staff for painting the parking lots where we live at right now, and also painting the big square, the no parking square in front of the station. And an update on Central Fire Station. Work is being done. All the walls have been patched. The holes in the wall have been patched. All the boxings around all the windows are done. The wall on the south side of the dorm room has been studded up. They're waiting to spray insulation. Paint has been picked out, and floors have been picked out to start laying down. So if anybody wants to come by and see it while the work's being done, y'all more than welcome to stop by and look at the building. Any questions? Thank y'all.
Yeah, Chief, do you know when they will be finished with the work on the fire station? About approximately?
Mr. Kenny keeps saying probably in about 2.5 to 3 more months. So that puts us on schedule for meeting the deadline for the state.
And after that, y'all will be able to move everyone back in?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody?
Any more questions?
Anybody else? Any questions?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, I have, Mr. Tony's, report. And he said, total permits, 38, code violations and citations, 14. And it says attached information, animal control information also attached. We have received approximately 130 calls. Planning and zoning has reviewed 10 new construction plans with 18 more to review. We have had multiple job site meetings with ongoing construction projects. Contact us if any further information is needed. And, sorry, Wi-Fi is slow. May not be able to open the PDF, but I can send that to all of y'all if you need. I think there's copies of building permits and everything in there, so I can send a copy to y'all. Okay, we'll move on. We don't have any action items and under discussion items. We had Mr. Chris George wanted to discuss an item with us.
How y'all doing? Just want to thank y'all again for allowing me to speak on behalf of my community. As many of y'all know, gun violence has started again. We had a homicide, like we just heard the chief said. And I remember last year when I asked them for a 90-day ceasefire, they did it. And that turned to 8 months of nobody shooting and nobody getting killed. But the thing is, we had nothing come behind it. Nothing. And I meet with people in the community and they all say the same thing. Man, the kids don't have anything to do. So, yeah, I like the idea about the boys and girls, so I'm glad you brought that up. But they don't have nothing to do. And one of the problems, I think, again, Chief, I think community policing is a good tool again. And I only know 3 of the officers, patrol officers, that patrol in Osceola. I think last time we had 22, and I only know 3 of them. So I just feel like that's not effective in the community. But if I'm gonna tear you down and build you up, I had an incident at my house when I was out of town in Houston. And I made a call. Some kids, little young kids, were shooting craps under my carport. And I seen them on my radio and I called the police. And your response time was amazing. I communicated with the officer through the ring doorbell and we got it fixed. So thank you. I commend you for that. So I do see the change. I'm just saying we need to know who's patrolling our community. That's all I'm saying. And Mr. Byron and Mr. Step, I was speaking with people my age, and they didn't even know we had 2 representatives. And I'm like, man, we have to do better. So we doing something, we just have to do more and reach people like me. Because I'm looking for another me, to be honest with you. I cannot find it. I'm 36, and I care more about, I feel like my age, I care more about my community right now. So it's kind of hard, so it's like having these conversations is hard, and to know that there is help, they just don't know who to go to.
Gotcha.
So I would just say, let's start being more proactive.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I was just saying,
That's all I'm
thank you.
saying. And I know, again, I know this is election season. I don't want to get promised nothing. I don't want to get a good wish list and nothing else. I'm willing to work with anybody, to fix this Crowley problem. It's not a West Side problem, it's a Crowley problem. And I have a heart for Crowley. So I think we all get together and fix this issue, it'll be better. Because I feel like this is a great city, and I just think it's just plagued by some activity that's not what we stand for, that's not what we represent. And I know when I go out of town, when I say I'm from Crowley, I want to get a good response. You know what I'm saying? But I thank you all for your hard work. I thank you for your diligence and getting this taken care of again there. I think that Boys and Girls Club will be there.
Mr. Chair, whenever you know.
Well, I think that'd be a great opportunity for the kids. But they kind of answered the question I had.
You can go ahead, Mayor, if you want.
I also have another. I will promise you this, that with the assistance from the Katy Parish School Board, City of Crowley, the coaches, head coach of Crowley, athletic director, I know who I'm talking about, Mr. Carter, Coach Carter, Coach Louis Cook, and some other coaches in other parishes. June 24th, 25th, and 26th, we're going to have a combine from professional football players. It's going to be held at the Garden Memorial Stadium. There's going to be some classes. Dr. Cornella Minix is going to be given mental classes. You know, I mean, it's going to be awesome. I don't have all of the details of it right now. We've only had our third meeting, and we're trying to finalize of the preliminaries, getting all of the, I guess, all of the criteria. And there's going to be sponsorships involved. There's going to be volunteerships involved. There's going to be a number of things, and it's going to entail kids from everywhere. We're going to probably get kids from Lafayette, maybe New Orleans, maybe Texas. There's a good chance it's going to be loaded up. And it's going to involve kids from from junior high school to high school as a senior. And it's going to be a combine that's going to be offered. And we had a meeting already with 3 professional football players, and they're going to be really involved. And I don't want to name the other one just yet, because and these are some football players from the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome for our kids, to be able to give them a direction, to be motivated into going and doing something else in life and be a productive citizen. So we can't it's exciting.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm all for it. I just ask for consistency.
Right. Yes.
That's all I ask for is consistency. I'm excited,
Yes.
but we just need something. The kids need something to do specific. Right. Crowley's kids need something to do.
Yes, sir.
And not just on election.
Right. That's I don't.
And that's correct. And this is
I don't want to give you promises, and I'm just being transparent with you all because I'm hearing this. It's election year, and every time it's election, they come give us like they just do all like they're tired of it, you know. And it's like, well, I can't vouch for my leaders if that's what we're consistent with being inconsistent. So I like the ideas. I support them. I'm staying by them. And if you need me, I'm here. If any one of you need me, I'm here. Y'all have direct access to me. I'm willing to work with everybody, but make sure your intentions are pure. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Did I have your number correct?
Get
with me after.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I just want to let everybody know that it is going to be consistent, and it will be every year. As a matter of fact, depending on how it works out, they're going to even maybe try to do it twice a year. And it's going to be consistent from here on out.
I have a quick question, if I could. Mayor, you're talking about the Boys and Girls Club. Have you been in contact with Rotary?
With what?
With Rotary?
Not yet, no, sir.
Okay, because
I did speak, but I did speak to someone.
We had actually had that
because,
going on in
we're
Rotary.
I just didn't want to see everyone
Right.
duplicating effort, you know. That's all.
Because we already have that effort started in
Yeah,
Rotary. Yeah. I was thinking that as well. I was going to ask you later.
I just sent an email to the others.
Okay.
To let them know that he mentioned that, so we can run it all.
Kind of coordinate, okay.
Group effort.
Yeah.
Yes,
Group
sir.
effort.
Absolutely. We're going to need as many volunteers and professionals involved.
Right. Okay, next, the chief wanted to talk to us about some safety concerns with the warehouse located at 500 South Park Avenue.
Oh, no, that's not
Yeah, I'm very aware of it.
Some of these pictures may be duplicated, I'm not positive, but when we had the, what was supposed to be the bad weather, which thank God we were kind of spared from what could have been, but there was a lot of wind that particular day, and I received a call not only from a citizen, but one of my officers was a chief, and this was in the afternoon, when the weather was getting really bad. He said, "Chief, do we have some barricades?" I said, "No, we don't have any in the department now." And I said, unfortunately, it was after 3, so Public Works was closed. And he basically brought up this situation on that warehouse on South Parkerson. The aluminum that you see on the ground actually was on the street, on the roadway. The officers moved it to the side, but you'll notice there is some tar, some roofing. This was not from them trying to redo it. This came from the wind damage, where this was flying off. My concern is that this won't be the first, and of course, we're in April, so we know there's only 2 months before what season.
Can you wait till they listen? I'm not sure.
Okay,
We do know it's like 2 months until what season, so I just have concerns with this building with, the tins flying off in just that wind. You could have had, and we know that there's a lot of foot traffic in South Crowley as well.
the mayor told me that the owner of the building was here.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
true, sir?
Yeah, we plan on finishing in 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
We were working on it
Can you
last
state
week.
your name for us?
Chad Atkinson.
Okay. Mrs. Chad. So y'all are gonna finish it in?
2 to 3 months. We plan on resheeting the whole building.
Okay.
It'll be like a silver color, kind of like we did with the old Greensboro building inside.
Now, is any of this debris still around the building?
We removed it that day
Okay. So there's no,
after the wind passed.
there's no.
Literally
tear
right
up
up to
around?
it.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I did drive by there and I didn't see anything, but I just wanted to
Put
make
a
sure.
security fence up around,
Good, yeah, because I know there was people staying there and.
Well, that was before the building.
Yeah.
We have people surrounding and they do whatever.
So you
Well,
said,
yeah, we have buildings, Jackson, Mississippi, they break through the triple brick wall there.
and your intention is to repair the building, right?
Yes.
Okay, and in 2 to 3 months, it should be.
Be resheeted, new sheet metal on the roof.
And what do you?
The stuff that was up there was loose, that in fact, they're gonna be here next week, removing whatever else stuff.
Okay, good.
They, didn't notice it.
And it's just gonna continue to be a warehouse or?
Yes.
or- okay. Well, thank you for giving us an update.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
question?
Oh, yes,
Atkinson, thanks for coming, by the way. On the south side building area, are you putting like new red iron or?
There'll be some red iron added, for the most part though, we're gonna keep what's there.
So you're just gonna have a square side?
We're gonna red iron about like 27 feet out. We've got some 18-inch I-beam we're gonna put there, and then just kind of redo it.
But I suggest put some posted signs possibly too, no trespassing, stuff like that. It doesn't hurt.
Lafayette has that same, request.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, is there anything else to come before the public safety? Well, we did have one more thing.
Well, that kind of.
Says, that kind of takes care of it, I guess, yeah, because we were asking for, the repairs and compliance and all that about this particular building. Is there anything else to come before Public Safety Committee? The committee will recess.
Thank you, ma'am, for sitting in twice. Public Buildings Committee?
Public Buildings Committee convened, we had a quorum. Under action items, there was none. Is there any action coming for public business before we recess? There being none, we recess.
Thank you, sir. And next is Spring Public Insurance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. The Insurance and Personnel Committee will convene. We do have a quorum. There are no action items or non-action items. So does anyone have anything with Insurance and Personnel? We'll recess.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is Community and Economic Development Committee agenda. If you don't mind, if you will allow me just for a second, I'd like to say a couple of words. I'd like to thank Mr. Reggie. Mr. Reggie has been so kind to sit in, and other people at City Hall have filled in, but Mr. Reggie has filled in. Ms. Valerie has been out, and I'd like to thank Mr. Reggie for sitting in, and we went around and ride, took pictures, and got it going, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Clean city conference.
Thank you. Team effort. All right, so, Community Economic Development Committee will, let's see, we do have, quorum, Mr. Core is out. We'll start with reports. Garden Club. Garden Club is celebrating their 40th annual flower show, which will be held at Bank of Commerce on Thursday, April 21st, from 1 to 3:30 p.m. and Friday, April 22nd, from 9 to 4 p.m. And this will go under this Garden Club too, since they sponsored it, Clean the City. Clean the City will be tomorrow. Judges should be around 10, maybe 10:30. The city's done a real good job. We've kept along the same route. Sorry. We're going to serve them probably some full boards and some blue dogs, and we'll try to get them drowsy. So, yeah, I just have to say, the mayor and I took a ride around. We did a lot of the same route, but we found a lot of, I guess you'd say, items that needed to be taken care of. And Gilbert and the guys really did a bang-up job. If you saw them in the last couple of days, they've been striping everything. It looks really, really good. If you go by Mill Street, they even put some white down for the railroad crossing and stuff. I mean, it really pops. They should do great. So, yeah, we're looking forward to Clean the City. So, under Chamber of Commerce, on April 8th, they have the Chamber Golf Tournament. And under, I guess, Chamber will do that to April 22nd, will be the last streets from Lincoln Park. Main Street Tourism, I will say that I sat in on a very talented potential new hires. I believe we had 7 that actually came in. We had 3 for a second round, and I'm hoping that the Main Street Board will have a director for us for next month's committee meeting. So under Main Street on April 9th, they'll have the Easter Sidewalk Saturday sale. April 28th, there's a bus coming from Hot Springs to tour downtown. And April 29th, Art and Wine Stroll. And we're still working on the Tri-City Car and Tractor Show. I think the flyer and everything's been out. That is also still ready for May 28th. And Valerie, I think, is still on maternity leave. She comes back 2 or 3 weeks, I think. Okay. And that's pretty much all of that. I have no action items, so if there's nothing else to come before Community and Economic Development Committee, I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Next,
I had a question for Sammy.
for economic, okay. Would you reopen?
Let me reopen.
Mr. Reggie, last year we had I don't know if it was a light pot cook-off or a jambalaya cook-off or something for the classic car show and tractor show.
Yes.
Is that a plan again?
As far as I know, they're going to do that again.
Okay, thank you.
Some kind of cook-off, yeah.
When you partner?
You said just cook anyway. Just make it.
All good, and I will recess again.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Next, Revenue and Finance, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Revenue and Finance Committee convenes. There is a quorum, absent Stephen Primo and Brad Core. There are no discussion items and action items. We're authorizing a resolution of the Board of Aldermen in the City of Crowley authorizing a standby letter of credit to be issued by the First National Bank of Louisiana on behalf of the city of Crowley for the benefit of the Louisiana Office of Workers' Compensation in the amount not to exceed $300,000, and to authorize a revolving line of credit up to $300,000, evidenced by a promissory note in the amount of the letter of credit to authorize the pledge of an unencumbered certificate of deposit as security for the standby letter of credit, and to provide for all matters relative thereto and in connection therewith, and I so move. And second, any discussion? Correct. This is a reserve that's necessary for the workers' comp. Yes,
Is it always the same amount?
it has always been $300,000.
Okay.
No discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item passes. There's no item for Revenue and Finance Committee, committee then recesses.
Thank you, sir.
Catherine, we were nice to you. It's because that Stephen Primo was here. He talks a lot.
$5 burger.
Who's that Atkinson fellow that was here? Is he on the building?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Oh, he owns it? Okay. I just didn't know how to, okay, I got an Atkinson, got it, said they could have fixed the building.
Yeah, he's on.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's the one right by